everyone, welcome to the Bodhi Academy. In today's video, we will learn the class 11 biology second chapter, that is biological classification. So as we have seen in the earlier chapter that since ancient times or since the dawn of civilization, humans have always attempted to know and classify the living organisms around them. Now earlier they were trying to know or classify the organisms which were of their own use, for example which were the source of food, shelter and clothing for them. Then later on they started to develop a curiosity to find out more things about all the organisms that are surrounded that they were surrounded by. Okay, so as we have already seen, the classification means the grouping of organisms in different groups. So in Linnaeus' time, a two-kingdom system of classification was seen or was developed, which was Plantae and Animalia kingdom respectively. Okay, now this included plants and animals. Okay, Plantae meaning plants and Animalia kingdom included animals. But there were several organisms which did not fall in both of these groups. Okay, there were a large number of organisms which did not fall into either of these category. Okay, so hence there was a need to form a new kind of classification. So R.H. Witter in 1969 proposed a 5-kingdom classification. Okay, and the kingdoms defined by him were termed Monera, Protista, Fungi, Plantae and Animalia. Okay, now the main criteria or the basis on which this classification was used by him included the cell structure, body organization, mode of nutrition, reproduction and phylogenetic relationships. Okay, so these were all the characters which form the basis of this 5-kingdom classification. So here we have the characteristics of the 5-kingdom. The first kingdom is Monera, Protista, Fungi, Plantae and Animalia. So they were divided based on different characters. We have cell type, cell wall, nuclear membrane, body organization, mode of nutrition, etc. Now let us look at the first kingdom, that is kingdom Monera. So bacteria are the sole members of the kingdom Monera. So the kingdom Monera consists of the bacteria. They are most abundant microorganisms. Then bacteria occur almost everywhere. Okay, as we know, these microbes, that is bacteria, they are very abundant and they almost occur everywhere. Okay, they have a wide survival range. They can exist in extreme habitats like extremely hot temperatures to very deep oceans or very cold climatic conditions. So they also live in extreme habitats such as hot springs, deserts, snow and deep oceans where very few other forms of life can survive. So bacteria are grouped under 4 categories based on their shape. The spherical ones, see here in this diagram, the spherical ones are called coccus, plural is cocci. Then the rod shaped bacteria are called bacillus or bacilli. The comma shaped ones are called vibrium, plural is vibrio. And then the spiral ones are called spirillum or spirilla. So these are the 4 categories of bacteria based on their shapes. Now compared to many organisms, bacteria as a group show most extensive metabolic diversity. Some of these are autotrophic, that is they can prepare their own food, they synthesize their own food. from the inorganic substrate, then they may be also photosynthetic. Okay, so they are autotrophic photosynthetic. They can prepare their own food. Then they are chemosynthetic autotrophs. So a vast majority of bacteria are also heterotrophs. Okay, so heterotrophs meaning they depend on other organisms for their food. Okay, for the source of food. Now these could be heterotrophs could be parasitic, or they could be feeding on the dead organisms. Okay, they could be decomposers. Now the first type is archibacteria. Okay, now these bacteria are special since they live in some of the most harsh habitats, such as extreme salty areas, Now those bacteria that live or survive in extreme salty areas are called halophiles. Then hot springs, they are called thermoacidophiles. Then marshy areas, methanogens. So these archibacteria which are there, they are a special group since they are able to survive in these harsh habitats, and based on the type of habitats they have special names. For example, halophiles are the ones which survive in extremely salty areas. Then thermoacidophiles are those which survive in hot springs, and methanogens are the ones which live in marshy areas. Then archibacteria differ from the other bacteria in having different cell wall structure, and this feature is responsible for their survival in extreme conditions. Okay, now why they are able to survive in extreme conditions? Because they have special different cell wall structure, so which enables them to adapt in these harsh climates or extreme habitats. Then methanogens that are present in the gut of several ruminant animals such as cows, buffaloes, are responsible for the production of methane, that is biogas, from the dung of these animals. Okay, so the methane gas which is formed in the dung of these animals such as cows and buffaloes is because of the presence of methanogens in their gut. Then the next type is eubacteria. Now there are various different types of eubacteria. Eubacteria also means true bacteria. Now they are categorized by the presence of a rigid cell wall, and if motile they have a flagellum. Okay, so the cyanobacteria, also referred to as blue-green algae, have chlorophyll A similar to green plants and are photosynthetic autotrophs. So in eubacteria there is a group of bacteria called the cyanobacteria which have a chlorophyll A pigment which is similar to the one found in plants, and since they have this chlorophyll, they are photosynthesizing autotrophs. Okay, they can synthesize their own food. Then these cyanobacteria are unicellular, colonial or filamentous. Now here you can see this is an example of a filamentous cyanobacteria, that is blue-green algae, and the name of this cyanobacteria is nostoc. Okay, so these eubacteria or the cyanobacteria can survive in freshwater, marine or terrestrial areas. The colonies are generally surrounded by a gelatinous sheet, and they often form blooms in polluted water bodies. Okay, they mostly bloom more in polluted water bodies. Now this is the main point, that these organisms can fix the atmospheric nitrogen in specialized cells called heterocysts. Now this is a nostoc which has these specialized cells. Okay, these are the heterocysts. Now these cells are able to fix the atmospheric nitrogen in the soil. Now another example of cyanobacteria which is able to fix atmospheric nitrogen is Anabaena. Okay, So nostoc and Anabaena are the two blue-green algae which can fix atmospheric nitrogen. Now there are some eubacteria which are chemosynthetic heterotrophic, which are the bacteria that can oxidize various inorganic substances such as nitrates, nitrites and ammonia and use the released energy for their ATP production. Okay, so these can synthesize the chemicals or the nutrients that are found in the soil, and that can be the source of their food. So these chemosynthetic autotrophic eubacteria play a great role in recycling the nutrients like nitrogen, phosphorus, iron and sulfur. Then the next group is the next type of eubacteria are heterotrophic bacteria, and these are very abundant in nature. Their majority are important decomposers. Okay, heterotrophic means those which depend on other organisms for their food. Okay, so these bacteria reproduce mainly by fission. Okay, here is an diagram of fission in which they divide in two daughter cells. Now under unfavorable condition they produce spores. Okay, now this is they divide or reproduce by fission during favorable condition, whereas when there are unfavorable condition they will produce spores. Then they reproduce by a sort of sexual reproduction by adopting a primitive type of DNA transfer from one bacterium to the other. Then mycoplasma are the organisms that completely lack cell wall, and they are the smallest living cells known and can survive without oxygen. Many mycoplasma are pathogenic in animals and plants. So these mycoplasma are a type of bacteria. So these are the smallest organisms or smallest living cells that are known, and these can survive without oxygen. And these cells also completely lack a cell wall. Okay, so they do not have a cell wall, and these are mostly they are pathogenic to various animals and plants. So this is all about the kingdom Monera. The next kingdom is kingdom Protista. Okay, so all single celled eukaryotes are placed under the kingdom Protista. So kingdom Protista consists of all single celled eukaryotes. Now in this kingdom Protista we will discuss about chrysophytes, dinoflagellates, euglenoids, slime molds and protozoans. Okay, so the first type that we have is chrysophytes. Now these groups include diatoms and golden algae or the desmids. So they are found in the fresh water as well as marine environment. So their habitat is fresh water as well as marine water. They are microscopic and they float passively in water currents. Okay, now they are microscopic, so they are very tiny and they float passively in the water currents. So that is why they are also called as planktons. Okay, most of them are photosynthetic, so they are autotrophs, and in diatoms the cell wall form two thin overlapping shells which fit together as in a soap box. So the walls are embedded with silica and thus the walls are indestructible. Okay, so the walls of these diatoms are embedded with silica and thus they are indestructible. Thus the diatoms have left behind a large amount of cell wall deposits in their habitats. The accumulation over billion years is referred to as diatomaceous earth. Okay, so the residue or the large amount of cell deposits that these diatoms leave behind is called as diatomaceous earth. So all the different types of organisms that are included in protista, that is dinoflagellates, euglenoids, slime molds, protozoans. We'll learn all of these in the next class. So this is all in today's video. Thank you for watching my video. Please like, share and subscribe to the Bodhi Academy.